Hi everyone, welcome back to Nick Toy World. Today a little bit different than the normal toy checkout I have. Today I'm showing you the existing action figure that I bought from Target. These are figure that I actually repaint them and using bright brush and along with black paint and some of the clear coats to make it look wet like this. But originally these figures they look very toyish. So I'm gonna go through some of the articulation and standability of the figure, and also show you some of a closer shot of what these after the paint look like. Let's start out with a Michelangelo. He is the shortest guy out of the pack. He probably around, I would say around 8 or 9 inches tall compared to him. So the tallest guy gonna be Doneo, and he probably around 11 inches tall. And then you got Leonardo and you got Raphael on the back. So let's start out with him. And you can see here, the articulation, you can move his arm 360 degree. And this side, same thing for the leg. You can do some this, and then you can do some basic chain and rotation. And this is the shell. I'm using bright brush and combined with diluted black color to make it look kind of dirty, to simulate that they stay in the sewage. And down here you see that all the wet thing that clear coat that I create. Same thing for his head. You can see that his head a little bit wet. It seems like wet. Okay. So I'm really satisfied after repaint him, and he looked pretty good to me. So right here, so I think this the figure. Look very nice. Now let's start with Raphael. He's one of my favorite. He is taller than Michelangelo, and he seemed to have a bigger build than compared to the other guy. He more thick, at the same time, but with all of this, the figure is not that heavy because it's hollow inside. Right, similar articulation, and you can move his arm around and leg like this, up and down, up and down. And then similar repaint that I have. I actually repaint the whole thing with some highlight black, and then all the simulated wet stuff. You see his face right here look pretty wet, right? But actually a clear coat that I make. The shell on the back look pretty decent. Okay. And then you can see the detail of all of this look like pretty nice. He's one of my favorite figure for out of the four guys. And yeah, this look pretty good. Now one more thing about him is they all have three figures, but if you move the leg too much, so let's say if I do this, I won't be able to stand him, or I do this, I won't be able to stand, or maybe I can do the pole like this. He can jump and maybe keep a pole like that. But other than that, if I want to keep them straight, it's gonna have to be like this. Okay. So for the figure, even though that they can move around, all the articulation, but they not really, if you move the leg too much, and they won't be able to stand. Or the only thing that you can do is move the arm up and down and try to pull the weapon in the right way. But other than that, they're pretty much like a static pose. And then actually I prefer static pose over articulation because I'm more like a static or statue collector rather than action figure. Because when you have a lot of articulation, the figures seem to look very toyish, except for Hot Toys, where they did a very good job. But again, as you guys know, the cost of the figure is a lot more than anyone can afford. So let's start with this guy, Leonardo. He's very tall compared to the rest of the guy. He have the radio feature on his back. I actually repaint the radio and then put some copper color, silver color to make it more realistic. Because before it's all black, and then it doesn't look really nice. It's like a toy. But similar, his arm you can move around 60 degree, sideways. Same thing over here, and the leg can do this same. But I'm keeping his pole like this. But so you here, you can see that these shell color actually a little bit different. The color, all these guys, they have a slightly different pattern on their shell, so they're not always the same. So that's a good thing, right? So it's not very generic. And he's the tallest guy out of the whole pack. He probably around 11 inches tall. Okay. Now Leonardo, he featured with a two sword on his arm, his hand right here. Similar paint job that I do with him. Articulation, the same thing. You can move up and down, and rotate and send the foot like this, and you can go this way. But other than that, it's not a whole lot of things. Again, the shell on this guy, the color and the pattern also different than the other. You can see some of like a sword mark happen on the shell, and similar what I did with him, kind of with the clear coat to make him look wet, the face look like a sweat and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I really like them this way, and they pretty much stay like this on my shell. The only thing that sometimes I change is changing the pose of the hand, but other than that, I never move anything else, so they're gonna stay like this. I mean, I'm really happy with this figure after repaint, because when I look at this particular figure in Target, they look good, they have potential, but the color scheme is so toyish, and that's where I say, okay, well, let's bring them home and repaint them and make them look more realistic. And these came out back in 2014, the same time with the movie Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and they are based on that movie. So it's not based on a 1994 cartoon or anything like that. It's based on the most recent movie that they have. So if you like the character in the movie, these are perfect, and they doesn't look the one that in the cartoon back then. But actually I prefer this because they look more realistic. They look like a human and turtle combined, right? So look, I kind of like this figure this way. But anyway, I mean, that's pretty much all I have for today. Please comment about the paint that I have and where you like him, or what can I do. I actually repaint a lot of my figure. When I got, for example, I bought some toys from Marvel or even NECA or any like that. I actually went back and repaint them and make them a little bit more realistic. So I do a lot of repainting. I'm going to show you guys some of that later on. But anyway, thank you for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe for more video. Bye bye.